feeling just a bit bogged down by the lockdown. So I just can't wait for these restrictions to get over and actually go out. But yeah, all of you users, stay safe and stay at home till the time we overcome this crisis, right? Well, so yeah, in this session, today, as you know, we generally talk about the main updates that have happened in the Indian market, and we also try to cover some of the global updates that have happened throughout the week, because as I always say, it's really connected. It's all interconnected. So yeah, let's start, and do ask me questions, and probably if you want to drop in a line to tell me what you want me to talk about, sure, I'll do that. So yeah, so let's talk about Bitcoin first, and because these days the market's really maturing. There are a lot of updates, especially due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The overall economy is really not doing that well. So a lot of people, I would say, a lot of researchers and analysts, financial analysts, they have really high hopes, from cryptocurrencies and the blockchain technology. I mean, how can we really overcome this crisis and use some of the innovations that cryptocurrency brings to the table? So we cannot start our updates without talking about Bitcoin, the leading cryptocurrency in this space. So in India specifically, Bitcoin has witnessed a massive surge in past few weeks. Obviously, I've been talking about it in all my sessions. It's because of the recent uplift of the ban that they put in 2016, and just in few weeks the market's grown so much. There are new companies coming in, there's so many partnerships happening. Obviously VCs putting in money, a lot of companies, a lot of startups, even a lot of homegrown companies are trying to establish small educational courses for people, for professionals, and as well for students, so that we can really make everyone aware about this beautiful technology and what cryptocurrency brings to the table. Also, according, I recently read that the surge in local peer-to-peer exchanges the overall surge in Bitcoin volumes in India is due to the surge in peer-to-peer exchanges, and these exchanges have also seen an immense growth. And so talking about Bitcoin trading here, crypto trading platform that are comparatively new, like Paxful and even local Bitcoin, they've seen a lot of surge in their Bitcoin volumes. It's surged to probably 1.4 million in May. That was the highest. So yeah. So let's talk about. So I don't know how many of you know about Bitcoin Core, but it's a free and an open source software that serves Bitcoin node, and which eventually forms a part of the Bitcoin network. Like a set of it forms part of the Bitcoin network, and it really and that's what provides the Bitcoin wallet, which is like a fully verified payment system of Bitcoin. And Bitcoin Core is also considered to be the Bitcoin's reference implementation. And initially, the software was named Satoshi Nakamoto. Obviously, he invented Bitcoin. He named it Bitcoin, but then just to it was renamed to Bitcoin Core because they wanted to distinguish it between the network and the currency. So yeah, and even MIT Institute, and their digital currency initiative, it funds a part of this network. Yeah. So on Wednesday, so here is what I wanted to talk about. I just wanted to take a moment to explain this to you. So on Wednesday, Bitcoin Core released a new software update where the software will help prevent the Erebus attacks that happen on the network. Now, what's an Erebus attack? It's basically it allows large internet service providers like AWS and others to spy on the nodes which is an autonomous system, and it could censor the lines of the Bitcoin network and continuing with their malign activities. So the new feature that would stop these kind of attacks is known as ASMAP. So this is what the feature is called, and it makes it really makes it possible to limit the number of nodes connecting to any specific autonomous system, such as large ISPs like the likes of Amazon Web Services. More. So this feature ASMAP, it can stop the so-called Erebus attack on a Bitcoin network. Also, another exciting update is that Ethereum 2.0 is going to be launched sometime in July. I mean, I'm sure most of you have been reading about it. And it's basically, set to address the scalability issue, and specifically, the network will move to the proof of stake POS consensus, meaning that the asset holders, which are called stakers, will be responsible for the network validation, and miners will not be responsible for the network validation anymore. So that's going to be the change in Ethereum 2.0, which is going to launch soon. And also something very exciting is that daily Ethereum fees surpass those of the Bitcoin network for 2 consecutive days last week on June 6th and June 7th, which means people have spent more fees on Ethereum than on Bitcoin. So Ethereum is having a great time these past couple of weeks, and this is the second time that this has happened. Earlier this happened on March 12th, when the fees spent on Ethereum exceeded that of Bitcoin. I mean, this is really exciting, and that's why there was a sudden spike in Ethereum network fees as well, because there was a lot of load, and a lot of users were trying to access it. And this actually coined a new name on Twitter, which is called feepening, which is like the increase of the Ethereum network fees. It's like a funny word, but this was really trending on Twitter when this happened. And obviously, due to this, the network, the Ethereum network was facing like a major congestion at this point of time, and which prompted users to pay more fees for their transactions. So it's a great time for Ethereum, obviously, as I said, and it has also crossed about 119 million users. Like, they've surpassed 119 unique users that are using Ethereum wallet. So yeah, it's definitely exciting for Ethereum. Yeah. Hi guys. Hello everyone. I cannot speak Chinese. I can only speak English. Yeah. So the next is I don't know if you've heard of Coin Matrix. It's again a data research platform. There's so many platforms. Actually, it's the need of the hour. Because we need a lot of these kind of platforms, or probably these data analytics companies who can take this rich data that comes from a lot of companies and analyze it and basically predict some of these future trends that we can see. It'll actually really help the present situation, because there are a lot of questions when it comes to digital assets and how they're gonna change the way money runs at this point. So it's really helpful, even though there are a lot of such platforms that are starting up, but this is really helpful because that's going to create a lot of competition for people to analyze the right kind of data and create models to predict how can digital assets can change our lives, and what kind of figures will we have, what changes are we going to see, how will it be different from the traditional financial figures. So all these things, so in that way it's really good. The emergence of so many research and analytics companies. So Coinmetrics, one of these companies, they also recently released a report. They call it the preview of forthcoming research piece with ARK Invest that analyzed various metrics that institutions might look when evaluating Bitcoin, because right now Bitcoin is the top currency, Ethereum being the next, and a lot of these researchers are really backed on the data around Bitcoin and Ethereum, but obviously Bitcoin leading. So it actually begins with it's talked about a lot of such factors that could be used to analyze Bitcoin, and how can some of these incumbents really see things differently. So it's the breakdown of various markets, showing that the USD market is the smallest at $500 million in daily volume, and all the fiat markets is at about 1.2 billion US dollars, and all fiat and stablecoin markets are at 3.5 billion US dollars. And if you combine all the fiat, all stablecoin, and the crypto markets together, it comes to about 4.1 billion US dollars. And everything combined, if you combine everything, is 18 billion US dollars. So what it means is, and obviously among the stable coins, when I said stable coins, Tether is most of, it consists most of its market, the daily volume, almost 2.2 billion of its daily volume. Now the analysis, what shows is that Bitcoin's volume is really quite small as compared to the other major asset classes like the fiat, which is mainly used by all of us at 4 billion a day. It's considering how nascent and how new it is, and how just in past few years it's really reached where it's reached. It's really encouraging for us to see Bitcoin seeing about 4 billion volume a day. So yeah, that's what the report says. So let's see what's next. This is something very interesting, which says the most popular way to use Bitcoin off-chain is on its rival network, Ethereum. What it means is that the most popular off-chain protocols that use Bitcoin currency is run on Ethereum network. In fact, Ethereum projects hold 70% more Bitcoins than Lightning or Liquid. Now, this reminds that we recently released a research that analyzed two major capacity expansion technologies, which are the state channels and side chains, and it actually discussed the prospects in detail, the prospects of Lightning Network and Plasma, by comparing the two as well. So it's really a very deep tech stuff that our research team did, and talking about these networks, and what technologies can really make a difference in terms of there's so many challenges at this point that we face when it comes to the Bitcoin network. It's like how to scale it that well, and some of these challenges and how we can really address them are being discussed in this report, and everything is very deeply analyzed by a research team. It's just not like an article, it's just not information, it's an analysis. So I recommend that you guys should check that out. It's on our website under research section. Now up next is about Tornado Cash, which is basically Ethereum's premier coin mixing service. Yeah, it was launched. Fairly recently. It was launched in August 2019. Actually, they launched the V1. V1 is like the first version of Tornado Cash in 2019 August, and it was basically just the testing product. It was like a beta, but remained. It's like it was named like an experimental software because the developers still had control over funds during during their multi-sign wallet that they use for payments. But they've recently announced that the version 2, the developers would no more be able to control it, and it will become permissionless once it's launched. And last week it was reported that some users which were using version 2 of the Ethereum mixer Tornado Cash are making it possible to de-anonymize these transactions, and it's obviously a worry because the version 2 is not being able to achieve what it wanted to achieve. So yeah, a group of researchers really analyzed that they were able to link a lot of transactions, a lot of about 400 transactions they were, and withdrawals to that they were used the same address for deposits and withdrawals. So and many users are leaving their deposit in the mixer for less than a day. Even then, that's happening. So yeah, this is about the Tornado Cash. It's really an interesting topic, and some of these technologies they're trying to they're trying to use the blockchain technology to make things permissionless and obviously decentralized. That's the prime motto of cryptocurrencies and the technology behind it. But obviously, there will be issues and we have to deal with them. And the last interesting news that I came across is the SEC commissioner she's been tapped for a second term, allowing her to continue through 2025. Well, she's in the community, she's known as Crypto Mom, and without the actually they were saying that if she was not reappointed, now for a second term, her team would have been expired by this week Friday, which and obviously because there's so many for example, there's so many companies in the US that have filed for the Bitcoin ETF approval to SEC, and there are a lot of other companies, the digital asset companies, the blockchain companies that have applied for these kind of approvals. It really is the need of the hour. The same team evaluates them, so that we can really change the game, in some of these areas like Bitcoin ETF, the crypto ETF that has never been able to. A lot of these companies have not been able to get an approval from SEC in the US. So if this happens and the same team is able to launch is able to allow some of these companies to launch Bitcoin ETFs, the industry can really grow. The ETF industry, the crypto ETF industry can really grow very, very fast, which is actually the need of the hour. Anything that's happening in the digital asset space should grow fast, and because that's the need of the hour. Obviously, amid the crisis and all the downfalls that we've been seeing in the traditional market, some of us are really backing on this. So this is all for today that I had for you guys, and I hope you're keeping safe and staying at home. And I'll see you next week. Bye.